Read the passage and answer the questions. James Watt and the Teakettle by James Baldwin. A little boy from Scotland was sitting in his grandmother's kitchen. He was watching the red flames in the wide-open fireplace and quietly wondering about the causes of things. Indeed, he was always wondering and always wanting to know. "Grandma," he presently asked, what makes the fire burn?" This was not the first time he had puzzled his grandmother with questions that she could not answer. So she went on with her preparations for supper and paid no heed to his query. Above the fire, an old-fashioned tea kettle was hanging. The water within it was beginning to bubble. A thin cloud of steam was rising from the spout. Soon the lid began to rattle and shake. The hot vapor puffed out at a furious rate. Yet when the lad peeped under the lid, he could see nothing. "Grandma, what is in the tea kettle?" he asked. "Water, my child, nothing but water." "But I know there is something else. There is something in there that lifts the lid and makes it rattle." The grandmother laughed. "Oh, that is only steam," she said. "You can see it coming out of the spout and puffing up under the lid." "But you said there was nothing but water in the kettle. How did the steam get under the lid?" "Why, my dear, it comes out of the hot water. The hot water makes it." The grandmother was beginning to feel puzzled. The lad lifted the lid and peeped inside again. He could see nothing but the bubbling water. The steam was not visible until after it was fairly out of the kettle. "How odd," he said. "The steam must be very strong to lift the heavy iron lid. Grandma, how much water did you put in the kettle?" "About a quart, Jamie." "Well, if the steam from so little water is so strong, why would not the steam from a great deal of water be a great deal stronger? Why couldn't it be made to lift a much greater weight? Why couldn't it be made to turn wheels?" The grandmother made no reply. These questions of Jamie's were more puzzling than profitable, she thought. She went about her work silently, and Jamie sat still in his place and studied the tea kettle. How to understand the power that is in steam, and how to make it do other things than rattle the lids of tea kettles. That was the problem which James Watt, the inquisitive Scottish boy, set himself to solve. Day after day he thought about it, and evening after evening he sat by his grandmother's fireside and watched the thin white vapor come out of the tea kettle and lose itself in the yawning black throat of the chimney. The idea grew with him as he grew into manhood, and by long study he began to reason upon it to some purpose. "There is a wonderful power in steam," he said to himself. "There was never a giant who had so much strength. If we only knew how to harness that power, there is no end to the things it might do for us. It would not only lift weights, but it would turn all kinds of machinery. It would draw our wagons, it would push our ships, it would plow and sow. It would spin and weave. For thousands of years, men have been working alongside of this power, never dreaming that it might be made their servant. But how can this be done? That is the question." He tried one experiment after another. He failed again and again, but from each failure he learned something new. Men laughed at him. How ridiculous, they said, to think that steam can be made to run machinery. But James Watt persevered, and in the end was able to give to the world the first successful form of the steam engine. Thus, from the study of so simple a thing as a common tea kettle, the most useful of all modern inventions was finally produced. Number 1. How does the first paragraph affect the plot? Select 2 choices. A. It introduces the main character. B. It gives an idea of the age of the boy. C. It gives details of the setting of the passage. D. It shows that the boy loves his grandmother. E. It shows that the boy is very quiet and thoughtful. F. It describes the relationship between the boy and his grandmother. Number 2. Select the 2 sentences that should be included in a summary of the last 4 paragraphs of the passage. A. James was from Scotland. B. James knew steam could power ships. C. James continued to live with his grandmother. D. James kept thinking about the use for steam as he grew up. E. James failed many times but kept learning from his mistakes. F. James felt badly when others laughed at his experiments. 3. Read the sentence from the text. The hot vapor puffed out at a furious rate. What does the word furious suggest about the steam? A. The steam was quite noisy. B. The steam came out very fast. C. The steam made James angry. D. The steam created a lot of excitement. Number 4. What information can you infer about the grandmother in paragraph 3? Include information from the text in your answer.